Welcome to the Voices of Women Summit, brought to you by Kimberly Crow in honor of International Women's Day. We're here honoring women leaders from around the world in celebration of International Women's Day 2021. Please help me welcome your host, Kimberly Crow. Kimberly is a six-time entrepreneur and the co-creator of Speakers Playhouse and Ignite the Stage. She's got another amazing guest to share with you. Kimberly, take it away.
Well, hello, folks. I'm Kimberly Crow, the creator of the Voices of Women Summit, and I'm super excited. We have here Bernadette Geronazzo. I think I said that wrong, but we're going to get it corrected. Welcome, Bernadette. Super glad to have you here.
So great to be here, Kimberly. Thank you for inviting me to be among your magnificent women.
They have been some magnificent women. But before we get into that, tell us how to pronounce your last name. Is it Geronazzo?
Geronazzo, that's perfect.
Geronazzo. Okay, I'll get it right. It sounds very beautiful. I don't want to it's absolutely one of my prettiest names of the summit so far. Geronazzo. I like that very much. All right, cool. So you're going to talk to us about how to be a source of inspiration in uncertain times, like, I don't know, COVID. Awesome. I'm super excited to get into this material. But before we do, tell us a little bit about how you became passionate about this particular subject.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate that wonderful introduction. And so how did I become involved? Well, firstly, I need you to know that it all started when I was very young. If you permit me, I'll tell you a little story when I was young. Yes? Okay. So I've always been that fearless child, adolescent, and adult who wouldn't hesitate to speak out in support of those in need. One day, when I was in grade school, the local bully made the erroneous decision to have his gang attempt to beat up the lonely little Down syndrome boy at the end of my alley. This was when I was in 5th grade, and it wasn't more than a few minutes before 4 of the 5 boys were running away. Their leader was on the ground below me here, and I was telling him, "You never come near this boy again. Leave him alone and go pick on someone your own size."
Wow, that is fantastic. I love that you defended him. That's incredible, because most people, they just step aside and they're like, "Ooh, I hope that doesn't happen to me," or "Oh gosh, that's too bad." But you stepped in and made a difference for your life, for their lives, for everybody's lives that were involved there. That's an incredible story.
Thank you. Yeah, so I need you to know that that action quickly garnered me some immediate notoriety and a wide berth when I walked down the hallways. And also, of course, the friendship of this young boy. And we walked together to and from school until such time as he gathered his own little group of friends together and felt safe to leave my side. Now, I really need everyone to know I'm not espousing violence here, but action in support of others, just like you said, Kimberly. And these days, I may still choose to fight when a social injustice demands it. But since discretion is the better part of valor, I'm sure we can all agree it's often wiser to walk away. We gain more respect from others through patience and determination rather than doing things we may live to regret. As I was growing up, I need you to know my father repeatedly said to us, "You can do anything. You could be an Olympian if you set your mind to it and dedicate the effort." Comments like this, I need you to know, and the unwavering belief in the capabilities of a young person can instill great self-esteem in them. And self-esteem leads to confidence. A word of caution here, though. Insincere praise, the kind we may use from a place of ego to further our own interests, is flattery. And people perform far better when they are offered honest and uplifting words of encouragement. You can instill self-reliance and even courage in others by using language like, "Of course you can," and "I know you will." Beyond words, however, it is your actions which will have others either wanting to follow in your footsteps or walking away. When a person is living their life, always looking for ways to improve a situation, when they are speaking with compassion and behaving in such a way that sets them slightly apart because of their ability to sense others' needs, then these are the decisions that inspire others to follow suit. I can give you a quick example. Oh, great, thank you. When I was much younger, the man who today is my wonderful husband, he heard me say, I think I'd like to learn how to draw. I was merely musing and totally forgot my comment. However, a few days later, artist pencils, erasers, charcoal, a large sketch pad, and even a beginner's book on drawing, all wrapped with care, was placed on my doorstep, giving me the gift to pursue that interest immediately. You can do the same by simply taking note of what is expressed by those you love in passing. In the same way, you have many choices before you every day. Don't you agree, right? What about that choice between quality and quantity? In the world of fashion, our generation had parents and grandparents who came from the scarcities and fears of a war-torn world. You may have heard one of them say, always buy the best quality you can afford. And mind you, take care of that which you are lucky enough to have. Naturally, these words relate to far more than fashion and clothing, but let's examine the difference you can make in a world which has become accustomed to fast and disposable fashion. Consider the transformative difference you could make if you took a personal style statement that went against this trend, which has such damaging environmental repercussions. I recently read about an Italian startup company called Nadzema. Now listen to this. They're taking disposed of garments and textiles and repurposing them into boxes and even furniture. You see, inspiration in a time of COVID stems from a passion to create a better world now and using that which we have at our fingertips. Imagine what kind of a world could emerge if all of us made incremental choices to reduce waste or found a solution to repurpose one item in landfills like Nadzema? And how many of us over this past year of intermittent lockdowns and restrictions have really taken the weeks we've been offered and used that time to truly deepen our relationships with one another? I'm sure you know, when friendship is faced with adversity, it will either crumble or create building blocks for a stronger foundation. The same holds true for marriage. But what I have been so excited by is these signs of hope in our society, the many gestures of kindness and understanding combined with expressions of love to lift each other up throughout this time of separation and distance. Now, history gives us many examples, right, of heroic women. And on International Women's Day, we need to remember these women who were able to accomplish great things in unfriendly, uncertain, and even hostile times. I want you to imagine what it might have been like to be a scientist. Marie Curie in the early 1900s. She discovered radium and polonium at a time when science was the sole domain for men. She won the Nobel Prize twice. Frida Kahlo, who was married to Diego Rivera and transplanted from her native Mexico to New York. Consider how ostracized you might have felt if you were she, living in that time. And like most artists of her time and era, her beautiful surrealism really came to be appreciated long after her lifetime. Then there's Valentina Tereshkova, the first Russian woman cosmonaut. And of course, you're familiar with Mother Teresa, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Joan of Arc, and Rosie the Riveter, right? The iconic poster, which motivated millions of women to leave their homes for the factory floors and contribute in roles traditionally held by men. In more recent times, I like to think of people like the former First Lady Michelle Obama and today's New Zealand's Jacinda Ardern. Did you know Jacinda became the world's youngest female head of government at the age of 37? And she continues to inspire people around the world with her focus on affordable housing, child poverty, social inequality, but with action plans tied to those issues. These are people who have demonstrated intelligence, courage, creativity, even humility, and all have led with grace to become people we truly admire. If we look at how society has evolved over time, we can attribute a great deal to the pioneer women who came before us. Their bravery and courage has paved the way for us. Too many of you are too young to know that in the 1960s, those women were fighting for the right to be heard. But in the decades since then, women have moved from being, patted on the head to being invited into the boardrooms where our perspective is beginning to be welcomed and appreciated. We can expect to be heard, right? Because women have earned their place of respect. It comes from our unique lens, one I feel is more human-focused and collaborative. And we address that lens to all of the challenges we have at hand. Now, I spoke of choices earlier, and one way to inspire others is to bring new activities with you in collaboration with another. Together, you can explore activities which expand the mind, body, and spirit. In my experience, everything from yoga and meditation to sewing, cooking, or construction, where mindfulness and attention to detail has been required, it's led to a beautiful result for both parties involved. In these months, many of us have, I think even you, Kimberly, haven't you taken up some outdoor pursuits?
I have.
Yeah, and so why are we doing that? Quell anxiety, increase the sense of overall well-being, discover the many benefits of being closer to nature. But what about for you, Kimberly? What else for you?
Well, moving the body is moving the mind, right? Like shifting your physical space will shift your mind space as well. And sometimes that just needs to be done.
Absolutely. And so I'm hoping that everyone listening today is taking Kimberly and my lead, going outside and getting some fresh air. But what I wanted to say about that is over this past year, we've seen how important it has been to appreciate the little things that perhaps we took for granted in the past. I want to encourage you, be that person who chooses friendship over money. Know that a lady can never be overdressed. By looking your best, even in the privacy of your own home, do you realize you set an example for everyone around you? Share your resources with the less fortunate. For whether we like it or not, our values are on display each and every day. Those who depend on us or who look up to us for guidance, they're also calculating whether or not what we say and do are in alignment. Here's the kicker though. They're unconsciously following our invisible lead, meaning what we're doing. So it's really important, right, to be conscious about our integrity. I know that I'm seeing, and I hope all of you here today are seeing and experiencing a kinder, more considerate side of people emerge. And when we give the gift of our creativity, no matter what form it takes, whether it's writing, art, song, and when you share that as we've seen people do, on the internet, outside their balcony, in their backyard, on a street side, even in streaming video. You may not be aware of exactly how many lives you are touching. These are just a few ideas on how we can be a source of inspiration. And since the only constant in our lives is change, I want you to be that bright spark. Be that one who really lights up your world first, and watch how it lifts the energy and spirit of those around you. I think, if you don't mind, in closing, if I have a bit of time, I'll share a little passage from Desiderata. Can I do that?
Yeah, that'd be great. You're doing great.
Thank you. So this passage starts like this. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter. For always, yeah, it's profound, right? For always, there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself.
I love it. Very powerful. We were talking about comparing yourself to others, and do not compare your beginning to my middle, and how, we can feel like unsafe and insecure because we're comparing ourselves to somebody who's already further down the path and we're not there yet. And that leaves us feeling that bitter piece, right? Or if you're like, oh no, I'm all that in a bag of chips, then you can start feeling vain. So very powerful stuff, Bernadette. You are, as Jessica says, a formidable and influential woman. So thank you very much for sharing. There's been some great comments in the chat, and I would love to share them. Are you ready for some questions?
Absolutely.
All right, so Dorothy says, very excited to watch Bernadette, an amazing lady using her time and efforts to help others. That's so true. You do show up in such a serve mentality. Can you talk a little bit about being a person that is sort of a servant leader?
Thank you. Yeah, sure. So for most people wouldn't know, but I have a real heart for causes. And as a result, every now and again, I'll gather a whole group of people around a cause so that we can raise funding or raise awareness, or, bring people together so they'll understand how things could be different. So yeah, I do like to lead in that way. Recently, we did a fundraiser for the Calgary Women's Shelter in December that was hugely impactful. We've done a whole bunch of different things over the years. So thank you for that question.
I just love how you show up in the world. Marina says, well said, sensing others needs and encouraging people with encouragement. We all need that. And it's important to remember that the people you work with will respond positively and compassionately. Thoughts on that?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Marina, for that comment. Well, I have to say, the women in this world, and particularly the women that are following you, I have to say, Kimberly, they're leading in this way, right? They're extending compassion and kindness. And that just tends to bring more people towards them. So when you express this in the workplace, I'm sure Marina has found in her own career, extending that lifts everyone's productivity. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's such a little thing that we all can do.
Wonderful. And Anne Youngby actually put a note in the chat saying that there is a prime minister who is 34 years old in Finland that is a role model at 34. I would love to have been a role model at 34. I don't know that I was, but that would be really phenomenal. I certainly didn't have a stage as big as prime ministership. And stepping forward on a stage like that can be very powerful. Deborah says, Bernadette, I love that you are such a great inspiration to live a life of integrity. Can you speak to integrity a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So I mentioned it a little bit early on in the conversation. So what is integrity? Integrity is simply what you say you are going to do, you actually do. So I know it's a foreign concept for some people, not the people here, of course, but this idea of I will be there at 2:00. And you show up, maybe 5-10 minutes before 2:00, but you show up when you say you were going to do, you complete the task you say you will complete. These are all signs of integrity. So I think that answers that question. Yes. Any other questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about your free gift for our audience, because we're running out of time and I just love how you show up in the world. But you actually have something for folks that's all about tech, because she shows up in a way that's really powerful and integrity and as a whole human being. But her background and strengths are often are partially in the tech world. She's got something for search engine optimization and an audit of your website that she'll do for you. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm really proud. I have a fabulous team behind me, as do you, Kimberly. So we're so lucky.
I do have a fabulous team behind me. You're totally right.
We couldn't do the things we do without a fabulous team. So we're very grateful. So my gift for those of you who are interested and those of you who have a website and you may be thinking this website, I'm not sure why it's not working for me, or I want it to work more for me. As a search engine optimization audit from our team at In the Public Eye, they would do a review of what is happening with your site right now, where you're showing up, how you're showing up against your competition. They would help you with keyword optimization. There's all kinds of little things that are included in that gift, and ideal for anybody who really wants that.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, we are out of time, and I saw somebody raise their hand. We actually can't bring you into the conversation in this format, but we would love if you have questions to throw them in the chat. Bridget has already put up our next speakers because unfortunately we're out of time. But we have coming up next, Rosa Del Salvo, Get Your Hair Wet. I have no idea what that's going to be about, but it's going to be amazing because I know her and it's amazing. And then we have with Ginny, we have Dr. Elizabeth Clamon. Storytelling is your superpower. You're going to love her energy and her style. We also have Jackie Lapin, 44 ways to seduce your next client from stage, podcast, radio, virtual summit, or virtual networking. Love her. And then Nancy Boss, Permission to Talk Granted. Also, Bridget Home, Become Your Own Empowerment Generator. Some really powerful speakers up next. Super excited. I don't know which one you'll choose. I have no idea. If you're having trouble choosing, you should get the VIP upgrade and get them all. But before we let you go, Bernadette, any final words for our crew?
Well, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Kimberly. It's a real honor to be here. I'm wanting to wish everyone in the room around the world a very happy, International Women's Day. Lift each other's up, where you are in the world, lift each other up, and always use words of positivity. And this will really serve you well. So that's what I would like to say. Have a wonderful day.
Fantastic final words. All right, we're going to dance our way out of here. We'll see you back at the top of the half hour.
Wow, that
Cheers.
was an amazing guest. Join us again at the half hour for our next exciting guest lineup. Who will you choose to watch live? And if you want to hear them all, don't forget to grab your VIP upgrade ticket to get replays of all our amazing speakers and a whole host of bonuses. See you soon.